Greetings and hello again. Thank you for listening to this video. This here is the Ancient Spirit Tralaka. This is video number 60. It was a long time frame that the continent of Atlantis was settled as Pleiadians and some of the Vegans and others came to live on this continent that was in what is now the stormy Atlantic, which at those times was much more gentle and calm, smooth. And the top of the long island continent of Atlantis just crested, just to the point across from it in the United States where the state of Kentucky is. Though that part was much more narrow on Atlantis, which Atlantis from space looked like similar to a banana that had many ripples in it, with a very long stem on top. The bottom of Atlantis, which narrowed, was across what is the very, very top of Bolivia in South America. This is what Atlantis looked like from space, as I have seen it. It was the very successful settling and colonizing of Atlantis that would become the biggest rage of that certain off-world species of reptilians, whom had many basins and installments and life on that Saturn and Neptune, as I've talked about before. For they saw through their very high space telescopes Atlantis, oh no, was now being settled by multiple variations of humanoids, whom were peaceful and of harmony between them. Oh, this wasn't good for the reptilians, even to the extent that some of the Pleiadian and Vegan colonists even had a slight look of draconian in them, only on the part that the skin was slightly small scales that was very hard to be seen, though no shade of the old draconian green. Some had larger draconian style eyes, though extremely long hair. Other settlers of the early Atlantis were tall and of a darker, well, actually more of a mid-tone complexion, with smaller eyes, with shorter hair, barely to the shoulder length. Yet all these different style of humanoids got along. Okay, let me explain this next point with some humor so you understand the rage and the lunacy of that species of reptilians. Okay, remember the original Bugs Bunny cartoon era, the very original, and the encounters with the little short Martian who was always getting angry at Bugs Bunny because his high-tech equipment just wouldn't work. The little Martian would be bouncing up and down with his little clenched fists in rages of fury. Okay, now picture the reptilians that I've talked about before. Okay, let's continue. Remember that, and also the original era of the Bugs Bunny cartoons where Elmer Fudd was always raging mad because his hunting skills or trickery couldn't work on Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or Sylvester. Nobody could get something on Bugs Bunny in the original era. Okay, now picture the Atlanteans and the Lemurians of being the Bugs Bunny in this parody here, okay, and the rages and all the failed attempts of the reptilians to try to control the situation. Okay, we understanding each other? Now, place that understanding against the levels of rage of those reptilians and how they would even to the multi-humanoid species of Atlantean colonists that were getting along, which I have explained, that fancy, really high-tech electronic grid that the reptilians had, that certain species of greys also had in place to control what was on Earth that kept failing in operation. It only worked certain times. That had been almost useless because the Lemurians, for the most part, in the first 10 generations of Lemurians, so when the grid was readjusted, many Lemurians said, we're leaving, dude. and they transdimensionally left Earth, and then they transdimensionally reappeared outside of the Earth systems of planets, and probably put their hand to the window and flipped off the reptilians, and then they continued to go elsewhere. Okay, at that time, to top of that frustration of that certain off-world species of reptilians, about that time many Lemurians left, now from a system of planets which interlopes in an elongated egg orbit with the Earth. Then 8 planets Earth system had. Now that Nibiru system species were coming to Earth, and they were giants ranging from 9 to 15 feet from what I have seen, though very intelligent and with a very great technology than those who are working that grid. Uh-oh. The settlers of these Niburians were very calm when they're not pushed into forceful engagement in which they became deadly warriors. All this was the beginning to push the reptilians into a great pitfall rage as the ships began to then come and go to the area of Earth. The reptilians would send out their ships in space to try to destroy them before they could get past them. Uh, because their mark line was where the planet Mars begins, out to Neptune. That is their zone, and they didn't want anybody else in it. Though it was not very effective, they still made their areas of control dangerous to go through. However, while that species of reptilians worked new technology into the grid and the Earth for their next level of experiments. For upcoming, it was to be soon the inner battle with the Earth species to control their minds through, however, for some time the other half of the grid partnership had remained silent, not even to show up to the scientist meetings between the two groups. Okay, many reptilian leaders begin to wonder, like, hey, what's up? Yet they kept working their own scientists to work to be able to release this updated grid. For that species of old grays, though, however, cloaked the areas of planet Earth where they had went down and placed installment bases of gray scientists and some peaceful, more Earth-relaxed grays who were trained very, very heavily to look like settlers while they're being spies for their old gray installment bases, though they were not successful in corrupting the minds or lives of the early Lemurians. Atlantis, however, was to become an entirely different plan, for Atlantis had multiple humanoid species of beings. Here was somewhere those spies of the hidden gray installment bases could, in time, work themselves into and begin to set the traps of the species to warp the lifestyle and to introduce something called beliefs within the cultures of Atlantis that were in at that time they were already in very many multiple areas of Earth. Strangely enough, though, the hidden grays on Earth and the easily enraged species of aliens were not in communication with each other at this time of these experiments. However, they were both had basically the same idea they were working on to enslave the minds on planet Earth to create what they felt was an endless source of food and sustenance for easy times of life, and the energy itself gained from the bandwidths of fear within the air around Earth that was soon to begin. It was soon going to be an upgraded energy grid. And on the planet also, a envelope of fear. This envelope of controlled fear-based beliefs and the energy grid system upgraded of being alone in the whole little space around Earth, and that nothing exists beyond Earth but monsters. Never question, never reason, lest you be burned by something forever. Which, contrary to the spies spreading these lies, the original Atlanteans and even the Vegans and so forth understood the living multidimensional universe. But this was soon to change. This here is the ancient spirit, Tralaka. Journey safely, be safe in your life, and good night.